Come on in. The water's just fine. Oh, come on, I won't bite.
At least not that hard.
I'm a freshman in college and took a job at McDonald's to help me buy my ridiculously expensive books. I was only working for about a month when this happened to me. It was really late at night, and for context, the McDonald's that I work at isn't in the best area. There's a lot of crime that occurs in this city, so we deal with a lot of crazy people. Sometimes we see people fighting just right outside the building, and there's a dealer that stands in the parking lot, which at times I could see him making a sale. We don't call the cops or anything, as it was known that it is best for you to mind your own business. So, one night around 9 p.m., this couple came in and I took their order. Within minutes, they got their order and the girlfriend starts going off at me because I didn't put enough packets of barbecue sauce for her chicken nuggets. I try to calm her down and that I can get her more if she likes. That wasn't enough to calm her down. She said I should have put in more before I had handed it to her. She goes on that she wants to kick my ass and tries to climb over the counter. I don't know why she's going after me, as I was behind the counter taking people's order the entire time. I can also tell that this lady was a little bit drunk because her breath really reeked of alcohol. I'm really scared as this person was really big. She looked like she was in her mid-20s, but she's really big in size and really tall. I may be 19, but I'm 5'3" and I never fought anyone in my life. My manager steps in and yelled out,
"Are you really going to fight a kid?"
I knew what my manager was doing. I'm 19, but when I have my hair in a ponytail and my cap on, I can easily pass 16 because of my size and innocent looking baby face. When my manager yelled that I was a kid, this girl's boyfriend finally steps in and stops her. He took their food and left. This was a really scary moment. I thought I was for sure about to get into a fight. I looked fine, but really, my legs were shaking and I wanted to take a break from work, but I knew that wouldn't be a good idea as I just want to do my best to not think about it as much as possible. I ended up quitting about a month later as I found a better job as a waitress at this nice restaurant, which was in a much safer area. It was bad, but way better than the area of McDonald's I worked at. About a year later, a shooting took place in the McDonald's that I worked at. Apparently someone went in and immediately started firing at someone. Turns out it was a gang-related hit. Fortunately, the victim survived and the shooter was eventually caught weeks later. I'm so glad I don't work there anymore. This one is fairly short, but it's a story that made me realize how unaware I was of my surrounding. My boyfriend and I got weed, and before deciding to get high, we wanted to grub on some nuggets from McDonald's so we can go home, get high, and then proceed to eat our food. We got there, and it was somewhat packed. There were more people sitting waiting for their food than people sitting and actually eating. It was fairly late at night on a Saturday. As we were waiting in line, I tell my boyfriend that I'm going to head into the bathroom. As I head into the bathroom, I go into a stall and sit down. I'm looking down on my phone while doing my business. I've heard the bathroom door opening and closing. But then, as I was cleaning myself up, I see someone's face between the cracks of the stall. I instantly screamed and yelled at him to go the fuck away. I start yelling my boyfriend's name, but of course he couldn't hear me, so I start yelling for anyone, but it's just me and this peeper. Just as I was about to call my boyfriend, I heard the bathroom door opening and 2 women came in and saw the man standing in front of my stall. It startled him. One of the women started cursing at him to get out, and the man immediately runs out of the bathroom. The girls came up to my stall and asked if I'm okay and that if I knew him, which I told them that I didn't. I thanked them once more and got back out with my boyfriend. He's got our food, but noticed that I was a bit distressed. He asked me what was wrong and I obviously told him what had happened. His response was,
I was wondering why that man was running.
Nothing ever came up of that man, but now I feel very weird going to public restrooms. I don't go in unless I see someone else enter the bathroom, so I know that I won't be alone. And I wonder what would have happened if those 2 women never walked in when they did. I was working at McDonald's when I was 17. I have an attitude problem, but when it came to my job, I did a pretty good job maintaining my cool. If I didn't, I'd obviously get fired, and I really needed this job so I could save up to buy my first car. An example I want to give how crazy these customers can be, a lady started to yell at me and one of my coworkers because we didn't get her food done in less than 5 minutes. She showed us her phone that we were somewhere at the 7-minute mark. Normally, I would go off on people like this, but I told her we went as fast as we could in the nicest way possible. But there was one who I considered being the worst and probably the strangest customer that I ever had to deal with, and that's when I couldn't keep my cool. One afternoon, it was surprisingly quiet. Our McDonald's is near the freeway, so we're usually busy, but we do have those slow days, and this happened to be one of them. Anyways, I was getting this order ready for a lady in the drive-thru. I gave her her order and she drove off, and that was that. On to the next customer, or so I thought. Minutes later, she's back in the drive-thru complaining that someone put a tooth in her Big Mac. Since I'm the one who prepped her food, I walk up to the window and ask what the problem was. She lifts the bun and there was a tooth on her patty alright. I was disgusted, but then I realized that the tooth looked like it belonged to a baby or a child. It was too small for it to belong to any of us, even me being the youngest one. She tried to insist that it was mine as I did look super young since I did have a baby face, but I showed her my teeth aggressively, yelling at her that it's not mine. Plus, I realized she had her son in the back seat who didn't look any older than 5. I pointed at her son and said that I was sure that the tooth belongs to her kid and that she was trying to possibly start some sort of lawsuit or get her money back trying to finesse us. Once I pointed that out to her, I think she realized the jig was up and drove off while missing completely on throwing the food at us. Never heard from her again up until a few months later. I had a friend in my math class who worked at a Carl's Jr. I told her about the crazy lady at the drive-thru, to which she told me that she has seen the lady as well doing the same thing at her job. The difference with her experience was instead of putting a tooth in her food, she put a sock in her food bag. According to her, the lady ordered her food, walked out, and then came back in complaining that someone put a sock in her order. She pulls out a sock that again looked like it belonged to a small child. She goes off saying that she was going to report them and get them on the news for trying to tamper her food. They called her out on her BS, and again, once they did, she walked out angrily. I truly believe she's trying to make a quick buck out of us, but it's not happening. Plus, we don't get paid enough to care. Crazy tooth sock lady, let's not meet again.